My name is Irma Wani Othman from Universiti Malaysia Sabah. This paper established a discussion on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on income and employment in the agriculture and food supply industry. This article discusses the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on income and employment in the agricultural and food supply industries. Based on the background of the inaugural research method, this paper lays the research lens on a selection of contemporary issues including: Number 1, the country's dependence on imported rice supply. Number 2, the impact of COVID-19 on the Malaysian palm oil and rubber sector. Number 3, private involvement in improving the economy of the agricultural sector. Number 4, the rise of agricultural e-commerce in the food industry. And, number 5, the industrial revolution of the concept of Internet of Things IoT. Reflections on the discussion focused on the impact of the Movement Control Order implementation on the agricultural community consisting of smallholders and rural communities who generate income by selling agricultural produce, were unable to market their agricultural produce as well as facing the risk of job loss. However, COVID-19 also has a positive impact, namely the increase in online agricultural trade e-commerce under the control of the Electronic Commerce Act 2006 and the Consumer Protection Act 1999. The direction of research and development in the agricultural sector with the collaboration of the private sector is very important as a factor in developing the country's agricultural industry, where the reduction of dependence on labor and instead increase the use of technology-intensive systems and environmentally friendly innovation. In this pandemic era, the three most affected economic industries in the country are construction, manufacturing, and agriculture. The agricultural industry is one of the most important sources of economic income in Malaysia and has a major influence in economic development. Among the subsectors in the agricultural industry are livestock, crops, aquaculture, forestry, logging and plantation. The industry is in decline due to the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic that has occurred around the world and is affecting the health of all parties. The pandemic causes infectious diseases that cause respiratory problems and can lead to death. To curb this pandemic, the government has implemented the Movement Control Order under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988. This order has caused all activities of the agricultural sector such as the business of agricultural products, plantations, and cultivation of agricultural resources to suffer a decline while curbing the spread of the pandemic from spreading to a more serious level. This also causes decline in the income of agricultural resources and affects the country's economic income. The decline in the agricultural industry has also affected the source of food supply in the country. This is because the production of most food supply products such as raw food consisting of vegetables, livestock meat, and plantation products such as palm oil and rubber is reduced due to agricultural activities being disrupted due to the implementation of Movement Control Order. The spread of the COVID-19 pandemic has both positive and negative effects on the agricultural industry and food supply. Among the impacts are the increase in agricultural e-commerce, excessive amount of wastage on agricultural products, the decline of the aquaculture sector and affecting the income or employment of the agricultural community. 1. Excessive amount of wastage on agricultural products. The subsequent impact of COVID-19 on the agricultural industry and food supply is the excessive amounts of wastage on agricultural produces in the agricultural sector. This problem occurred due to several factors such as shortage of workers, closure of markets and business areas, the problem of roadblocks and lack of demand from public market operators. The shortage of workers occurred because most of the workers in vegetable stalls and lorry drivers for vegetable sales are foreign workers, and during the MCO, the number of foreign workers who could work has been limited. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, the marketing of vegetables is declining as wholesalers of vegetable produce reduce the rate or volume of their purchases due to the difficulty of selling such vegetable produce to consumers. In conclusion, due to the spread of COVID-19 pandemic which has caused the government to act by doing movement control order, and this has caused the excessive wastage of agricultural produce to occur. 2. Deterioration of the aquaculture sector. Aquaculture is the activity of breeding marine life such as fish, shrimp, shellfish, and oysters in a controlled aquatic environment. The aquaculture sector experienced a decline when there was an outbreak of COVID-19 in our country. Aquaculture operators are experiencing difficulty in conducting business activities due to the implementation of movement control order as a way to curb the outbreak. Due to the implementation of MCO, the demand for aquaculture livestock has decreased as most wholesalers and traders do not operate business. Livestock products that cannot be sold and marketed have to be cared for a longer period of time. As a result, aquaculture operators need more care and management costs to breed these fish and marine life. For example, fish feed cost, water supply cost, pond cleaning cost and employee salaries. This causes aquaculture operators to experience financial constraint and can lead to bankruptcy. The research methodology in this writing uses a qualitative approach referring to a research approach that requires careful observation with a focus on process and event management. Thematic, natural, and independent analysis of research findings based on information from various sources such as primary and secondary sources that utilize secondary data content analysis methods, namely the results of research journals, reports, books, and online news sources. This approach is a popular design in the social sciences when it is often associated with ethnography and sociology, law, and historiography. The implementation of the law with the observation of discussion embroidered with the relevance of relevant acts such as the Electronic Commerce Act 2008 and the Consumer Protection Act 1999 also contributed positively to the legal control over the increase of online agricultural trade e-commerce. This paper lays the research lens on a selection of contemporary issues including, first, the country's dependence on imported rice supply, second, the impact of COVID-19 on the Malaysian palm oil and rubber sector, third, private involvement in improving the economy of the agricultural sector, fourth, the rise of agricultural e-commerce and the food industry, and fifth, the industrial revolution of the concept of Internet of Things. The rice industry is one of the commodities given priority in Malaysia's food security. In the current era, rice has become an important food commodity in Malaysia because the country has made many changes in producing food, especially producing a variety of high-quality rice. Policies are very important because they are food security policies that also incorporate new philosophies and development directions as contained in the Second Outline Perspective Plan and Vision 2020. Therefore, the implementation of the improvement of the agricultural system in our country must be implemented holistically to help maintain the sustainability of the country's rice industry, thus preserving the welfare of farmers in our country. Among the strategies and efforts that can develop the rice industry is to increase the productivity and quality of rice, increase the effectiveness of mechanization and automation, intensify the use of rice byproducts, strengthen rice buffer stock management, structure incentives and subsidies for rice and strengthen management of rice institutions. In this regard, rice production in the granary and outside granary will be enhanced through the provision of adequate irrigation and drainage infrastructure facilities, the use of high-quality and high-yielding rice seeds, the practice of accurate agricultural technology and more efficient agronomic management. The palm oil and rubber sectors are agricultural resources that have contributed a lot to the development of Malaysia both economically and socially. Apart from that, when the COVID-19 outbreak hit Malaysia, although initially the palm oil and rubber industries were affected, but the situation could be overcome after the disease prevention measures were implemented. Through online media and news on television we can see that the industry is starting to increase the level of the country's GDP, in fact it is getting more exhilarating. This may be due to the demand for medical gloves which is getting a surge in demand at home and abroad. Furthermore, the contribution of the palm oil and rubber industries is not only significant during the economic crisis. The earnings of this industry can be seen consistently over time. For example, from January to March 2021 this industry has managed to become the highest and second highest contributor to Malaysia's GDP in that time gap. Through rubber export production, the country's GDP managed to collect 21.8 billion while palm oil export revenue contributed 19.2 billion. As for import revenue, 7.7 billion is from rubber and 4.4 billion from palm oil. The government has reviewed relevant proposals in providing more effective and attractive incentives to encourage the private sector to increase investment in labor-saving technologies in order to increase productivity and agricultural production at the same time. This is said to be so because the country's agricultural sector should reduce its dependence on labor and instead increase its use in technology-intensive systems and environmentally friendly innovations. In this regard, our country not only reduce the need for labor service, but also reduce dependence on foreign labor which is increasingly worrying the future of the country. This is because the matter can give a negative impact especially to the community in the country itself which causes a lack of employment opportunities for locals. The government's move in encouraging the private sector to invest in the cultivation of vegetables and fruits also provides a relevant solution to the problem that plagues most countries, which is the food security. Food security is very crucial, and the country should have stock up adequate supply of food security for unforeseen circumstances such as crisis. Investment in food sector is not only seen at personal gain, but also social gain where the return is national security in terms of food security itself. In this regard, the agricultural sector plays a role because the cultivation of vegetables and fruits requires a more planned, integrated, and comprehensive venture to increase the results of these efforts. The increase in online agricultural trade occurred due to many small traders and hawkers choosing this method as a business strategy when movement control order was implemented to generate their income. Online commerce is conducted under the Electronic Commerce Act 2006 and the Consumer Protection Act 1999. Small traders and hawkers face difficulty conducting business as usual because the rules implemented during the movement control order direct them to close the business premises. As a result, this affects their income generated through business activities. Online business is one of the strategies that can help them carry out agricultural activities without violating the rules set when the movement control order is implemented, and it is easier to do with low risk of pandemic transmission. For example, small traders such as fruit and vegetable hawkers, or food supply traders of livestock resource traders such as eggs and raw chickens can conduct business through social media like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They conduct product marketing online and then deliver and distribute customer orders using the services of a private courier, freight forwarder, or deliver the product personally. In short, small traders who were affected by the movement control order implemented in curbing the COVID-19 pandemic opted for online trading methods to do business, which results to a positive impact on the field of agricultural e-commerce. The use of IoT in agriculture can be diversified and it can also reduce the workload faced by farmers and thus increase productivity and crop quality, as it has given advantages in terms of time management for farmers to ensure the quality of their crops is taken care of. Apart from IoT, Industrial Revolution 4.0 has also introduced the adaptation of technology, so that it is not only used for a task but maximize the use of the technology that it can simplify our daily lives. For example, the use of drones and artificial intelligence AI, which was previously used in science as one of their research tools, is now widely applied in agriculture. The use of drones in agriculture in Malaysia is still new, but with effective exposure it can attract modern farmers to switch to this technology to maximize the production of their crops. This initiative will not only ensure the survival of the agricultural sector in the country during the pandemic period, but it will also provide new knowledge to farmers to operate not only through traditional methods but also in line with the mission to uphold modern agriculture and further enhance their productivity. Online commerce is also able to create a more flexible lifestyle, in line with the needs of youths who value the division of time between their work and personal time, and it can also encourage those who venture into this style of marketing to be more creative and innovative in order to run an online business. The COVID-19 outbreak affected the income and employment of the agricultural community. Most of the agricultural community consists of smallholders as well as rural communities such as villagers who carry out agricultural activities privately, namely rice cultivation, vegetables, and fruits, and are sold to earn a living. The implementation of the movement control order restricts the agricultural activities of these communities to harvest agricultural products and makes it difficult for them to sell these products in the market. In addition, marketing in rural areas is also less than in urban areas. This has caused them selling agricultural products at retail. Retail sales provide less income compared to supplying agricultural produce to the market or traders, and this makes it difficult for them to generate income compared to selling agricultural produce to the market or to wholesalers. Even with a pandemic situation that does not allow small-scale sales or hawkers to open stalls, it is more difficult for rural farmers to earn income from the sale of their agricultural resources. In addition, there are a number of agricultural workers who do not work full-time or do not have a formal contract to work in the agricultural sector. These groups also face the risk of being retrenched if employers need to reduce the number of employees due to social distancing or minimizing business costs. Some agricultural communities also consist of small and medium enterprises. Agricultural SME entrepreneurs rely entirely on the trade of agricultural products to generate their income. The implementation of a movement control order that orders all small businesses not to operate for long period of time can cause SME entrepreneurs to suffer severe losses and can even cause them to go bankrupt. However, COVID-19 also has a positive impact, which is the increase in online agricultural trade, e-commerce. Small and medium entrepreneurs choose this method to carry out business activities after not being allowed to open their business premises due to the implementation of movement control order. Therefore, we must think positively, innovatively, and creatively to address the impact of COVID-19 in the agriculture and food supply sectors. People must be wise and give their cooperation to the government in preventing and controlling the spread of COVID-19 so that sectors in the national economy such as the agricultural industry can be fully restored, as well as increase national income and promote national development. Thank you.